Salutare tuturor, băi fraților, și continuăm de unde am rămas. Bă, mi s-a dat un restart la PC, nu știu ce naiba l-a apucat nebunia. Văd că e aici lumea pentru Zandi, dar nu mi arată că transmit. Gata, asta e continuarea. Asta e continuarea. Mi s-a închis PC-ul dintr-o dată, uite România. Scriem și noi aici România și dăm de-astea.
Welcome everyone, I am joined here by Scented and Cold, your 8th place team out of day number 1. And Scented, we got to talk about that victory royale run that you had yesterday. What was the recipe for success?
Zandi, toată lumea.
You know, we just played our game, we got some good loot, we didn't have our loot taken, so we were able to find some refreshes and put ourselves in a good spot throughout the game, you know what I mean?
Subscribe, bă, cred că la 10
definitely, and
încep, cred că la
obviously,
10
you know, you
încep.
guys are in a good spot right now. 8th place is a great place to be in, but what's the
până
strategy
vorbește
for
cu
today?
toți,
You're changing things up or still sticking with what you did?
Dăm așa inimioară de
Just
asta.
sticking to the same thing, just playing our game out, hopefully just hoping for the best.
I love it. Thank you guys so much. And one last thing, is there anything that you want to say to the audience right now?
Enjoy, I guess, like, I don't know.
Guys, make some noise for Scented and Cold right now. Let's head on over to the next part.
Nu știu când naiba încep, hai să vedem. Welcome back! Hai să vedem, băi, frații mei aici. Nu uitați de subscribe, clopoțel și like, băi, fraților.
Let me give you Mixin and Ardor coming out hot yesterday. These guys are looking to keep it going for the best possible placement today on the day.
Sunteți degeaba, mâncavă.
A big welcome to Pars and Rays, representing the NA West region. They will need to focus up if they want to climb that leaderboard. Yesterday was, of course, a battle at the drop.
But a warm welcome together for Belusi and Hijo with a central drop on the map. These guys should have a smooth time reaching all the zones and at first place.
Vico and Marine, everyone, with the highest single player elimination count in game number 6. This team has to be ready to keep the ball rolling and try to grab that first place spot.
Mergi în sincron.
On one and Baka, everyone, with an off-spawn contest from the very first second of each game. They're looking to take over day 2 and take over the top spot.
Let's hear it for Wox and Robob. They had a strong showing to close out day number 1 here at the FNCS Invitational. Let's see what they can do today.
Bă, dar ăștia nu stați și ești, frate, sau?
This is Rolls and Rifty. These guys got fired up on day 1 and will look to continue that streak today and take home the prize for EU.
La noi România, dar nu era.
Let's get a big
Smite, ăsta mă copilul ăsta, Smite. De el ziceam, e bun ochelaristul ăsta. Nu joacă bine rău. Auzi-l, frate, pe Smite.
Put your hands together for Falconer and Hellfire. This NA West and EU combo cracked the code towards the end of day 1, and let's hope they can keep it going today.
Toți și-au locurile acolo.
20 duos left to introduce, but we have a little moment here. Let's talk about Smite and Larson. Sitting in 7th place, we got to see them just 2 back. How are you feeling about this duo coming to the competition today? Because I have really high hopes.
Look, I'm on your boat, Zeke. They're looking strong. They're looking powerful. Winning 4-2 off spawn against Muzz and Looter. Currently in the 7th place spot. I mean, they're doing great.
Yeah, they're doing great. Another duo that's doing great as well is, of course, Vico and Marine. We thought they were going to land Tilted Towers yesterday, but they switched it up. They went to the reality tree, and it's working out for them. Of course, Vico with the highest solo eliminations of the day. A 10 elimination game in the final game, so they close things off strongly.
După părerea mea, mă scuzați, pardon.
We'll find out, but first, let's meet the next 10 duos from the FNCS Invitational.
Put your hands together for Peter Pot and Jumper. These guys are looking to make that
great comeback today. We all know they have the potential to do it, but they will have to step it up.
Make some noise for Pam, Stu, and Fatch. Currently finding themselves in the top 10. These guys are running for the trophy. Now is the time for them to shine.
KBR in seat, folks, giving it their all yesterday. They find themselves as the sixth best team in the tournament so far. They are here to make the Brazilian region
acolo
proud.
cum sunt ei, mă refer la asta lor.
Let's give a warm welcome
care au
to
peste 100 de
Bevy
puncte
and Vortexers coming out
buni,
with an
frate,
average
acolo,
elimination
gen.
of 2.6.
Sunt cei mai buni,
These
cei mai buni
guys
cum ar
are
veni
amongst the
acolo.
top fraggers in
Cei
this
care au peste
lobby.
100 de
Let's
puncte,
see
clar,
more of this
joacă
today.
decent.
And a big welcome for Retake and Novice. Find themselves at the bottom half of the
27 de
leaderboard
puncte în
here.
6
They
meciuri.
have to now make this day the comeback. A single game can change it
Acum
all.
vin copia, mă, prostule, de fapt 27 de puncte într-un meci, nu 6 meciuri. Păi da, mă, dar ăia sunt cei mai buni din lume.
Give it up for Scram
frate,
and
auzi.
Jim, showing they
Mă dau un pic mai
belong in
încet,
this lobby.
dau un pic ăsta mai încet.
In day one, will
Gata,
they
gata,
keep
gata,
that
gata, mă aud acum.
momentum going?
Nu uitați și voi like-ul. Georgiana, like-ul.
Together, Rosaku and Marim with a great day one in several fantastic late games. Will they, can they repeat their opening success from day one?
A fantastic welcome to Ju
Welcome,
and
frate.
U3. Today is the chance for a comeback
Tu
for
ei,
this
Ju.
team, and they are looking for that opportunity now more than ever.
Dar ăștia sunt noi, mă, că nu înțeleg.
This is
Zandi!
All eyes are on the prize for this team here as they are currently coming into the competition
Asta
at
vă
fifth.
plăcosul nostru.
What a
Te
showing it
pupă,
was for day
Zandi.
one.
Hai cu meci, hai 2 meciuri, bre.
And Yumi finding themselves close to the top
2
10.
meciuri vrem să iei.
Everything is possible for this team. Today is their final chance to make it happen.
Cât mai până de drumul la meciuri? 46, zici, un sfert de oră?
I am joined right now here in North Carolina by FaZe Replays!
Mamă, FaZe, frate, replay.
Replays, my guy.
Yeah.
What an amazing experience this is. You were at World Cup. Here we
ajuns
are
și ăsta
at
pe
FNCS
aici.
Invitational.
Dar nu
How has the vibe been for you?
Oh man, it feels great to finally be back at an in-person event. The vibes, the atmosphere is feeling absolutely amazing. So, shout out to all of you guys coming. Honestly, let's make today a great day.
Yes, man, guys. I mean,
Bă, dați-mi
speaking
inclusie
of
în
the
realitate.
community as well, what does an event like do this for the community? You're a huge ambassador of the game here. How great is it for these guys?
Honestly, this is like I said, it's being back again after
Da, e
like
tot
4
hazul
years.
ăla
Like I
cu
think
mine, pe bune.
this is great for everyone to experience. Like just seeing all the players here from around the world. One of the best, some of the best players around the world. Being able to watch in person is such a great experience. So let's have fun. Let's see how these players do today, and let's see who takes it all.
Let's do it. Enjoy the show. Replays, everyone. Let's meet the next 10 duos.
Bă, toate alea ce-au scris.
This is King and Ed Lagana with a strong ending on day number one. The Brazilian duo has to show up and perform even
Brazilian
better
duo.
here on day two. Can they do it?
Focus and Spy, the amazing Middle Eastern duo, is looking to make strides up through the leaderboard today.
S-au dat chimul.
Are they ready to do it?
Mamă, 177 de puncte.
HD and Tripper, folks, with the best average placement of day one and a second place finish here. They are locked in and ready to grab that first place
177 de
today.
puncte, frate, ăștia.
A huge
Ia uite
welcome
chinezii.
to Backwood and Panada.
Și că fac ăla, cum se zice.
Over 13 points per game
Ăștia să dau șmecheri, au 89 de puncte. Ce vă dați, bă, șmecheri?
to pop off.
And let's hear it for Acorn and Edgy. Consistency is the key word here. With 3 top 6 performances yesterday, they secured themselves a solid 4th place coming into day 2.
Make sure to get loud for Hand and Vortex. This incredible duo showed they belong in this lobby with an amazing second place finish with 7 eliminations yesterday.
And a big welcome to Commandment and Avery.
duo that needs absolutely no introduction with the clash of the European Titans in Cloudy Condo. Tayson and Chapix are looking to take over.
Let's give it up for Maz.
PSG, ia uite. Ăsta are mai de la Paris. Are de la Paris Saint-Germain. Bă, ce delay. Ce delay. Buga! Mamă, 56 de puncte, Buga, slab, rău de tot. Ăștia au costume de banane, de piliuri, ia uite. Slab, rău, Buga, frate. Bă, când o să înceapă meciul să comentez, o să-l dau tare chiar dacă nu mă mai aud, că eu nu prea am ce vorbi peste. Vă dați seama, dacă mă mai aud pe acolo așa, o să fie la faze de la șmechere, că mai urlu sau așa, cam așa ceva. Și pe final, clar, o să... Da, se aude destul de tare, mă, și așa.
Their day one is and was for them. I mean, Acorn having the most damage dealt in the first and second zone out of any player shows that they prepared beforehand for this tournament. But the question is, in day 2, will they be contested? Will the change in zones cause them to not do as much damage? There's so many factors that come into play.
Yeah, absolutely. And their worst game was a 42nd, and it was when Haijo and Belusi rotated in from that west side. It kind of made things a little bit difficult for them because they had so many teams in the area already. Of course, we have no Rayleigh there as well. It's very, very difficult for them to all be there at once, and unfortunately they did fall victim to that. But their other games have been really, really consistent. They've been very, very solid. Playing the end game layers really well, and I'm excited to see them perform today.
Hai bă, frățiorii, că mai sunt 9 minute de și mie drumul la meci.
Thank you so much, Zeke. I am joined by Acorn and Edgy, and guys, make some noise for this team right here. You guys are currently in 4th
Bă, nu știu, poate fi atins eu de butonul de la... De la asta, dar nu cred. Dar am uitat de s-a stins.
Well, with how you guys have been playing, 1 second place, 1 third place, what's standing in your way from grabbing that VR?
Honestly, we just need to keep getting kills and refreshes and stuff, and if we just get mats,
Mamă, frate, dar uscat sunteți, bă. Se vede că au venit de foame unii.
I mean, good luck to you guys. You have 6 more games to go. But everyone, it's time.
Bine, pe de-o parte mai și înțeleg că e stresul ăla de enervez de mamă.
Thank you so much, Kelly. As incredible as always, but it is almost that time to kick off the competition. So why don't we go hang out with Monster, D-Face, and Jacob PR.
Gata.
Into the action. Let's go ahead and start gearing up, of course, for that first game there, Jacob.
Game 7 să zice, bro, what? Hai să vedem. Bă, mai am aici o pungă de pufulețe, bine, perfect.
Stress, of course, on the shoulders. You get that first day out the way, and then you have to think about everything and how it played out.
Yeah, and luckily for them, this is a 2-day competition. For some of these teams that might be on the low end of the leaderboard, don't count yourselves out yet. It's all about that mindset.
Let's go! Let's go! Hai, mă, să vedem, Zandi. Hai, tată, toată România e cu tine. Ia uitați-i, fraților. Da, să mă desfac mai aici ca să nu vă rup chiar urechile. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, sunt 100, da. Hai să vedem unde sare fiecare. Calitatea. Să da și drop. Vortex. Chico. Cami cu Stezi, aia care au câștigat 2 meciuri. Stezi, Stezi, cum n-ai bai. Uite-i.
That's right, a great job there, early tags, playing smart, and luckily for us, we get to really pick up where we left off. This fight here at
for Larson and Smite didn't always go their way, although they did manage to end
Zandi e pe locul 5 cu 135 de puncte, uitați acolo, în dreapta sus.
competition for them. And I mean, this is the most room we've actually seen them have.
Yeah, yesterday you seen like a 4-2 in Smite and Larson's favor. Over here towards Vico and Mariah. Vico has been going off.
Bă, de exemplu, unii poate să nu câștige niciun match, dar faci multe kill-uri. Chiar dacă tu nu-l câștigi, dar faci mai multe puncte.
And that's a lone player that they're surrounding.
The first thing Vico told me was, "Did you see me pop off last night?" I was like,
I think we all did.
You were going crazy. And we get to see how they're feeling, and you can tell the confidence is there. Look at the surge in confidence to walk in with no build and really try to make this a play here. But that build from Gralls is going to go ahead and discover that there's an opponent down here, and up he goes. Yeah. Oh! It finds the player on the other side. What a read! And they just cut him off. That was beautiful.
That was a perfect read. He checked him out of a book of a
Grolles.
library. It didn't even return him back. That is huge, and you can see Vico and Mariah, the only team currently in the top 10, playing in their first finals together. That is natural chemistry. That goes to show these are two fantastic individual players. You combine those powers, you get one dangerous duo, just like Cold and Scented. They had one of the victory royales yesterday, a couple of top placements, and that put themselves in contention to take the title.
And lucky for Cold and Scented, they've managed to go ahead and find themselves a little bit of room to play the drop there, and that's why we're noticing them in the endgame. And just think about the dynamic that's playing out right here for Larson and Smite.
Smite in Green Gable.
Do we go ahead and risk it all and take the fight for Muzz and Looter, or do we allow them to have a piece of this drop spot so that we
Ăștia
can
sunt la cave.
play safe and earn points?
Yeah, I think both of these teams realizing how dangerous it can be, and Smite and Larson, they're in the top, and you got to imagine those two games that they got taken out off spawn, how much that could have changed things. And 96 players alive. This is the same passive style gameplay that we saw in game number 1. That only leads me to think.
Mamă, sunt 3 teamuri la cave sau n-am văzut eu bine. Mr. Savage. Mr. Savage e aici în Junction. În Junction. A dat hituri bune. O să-l dau mai tare, o să-l dau mai tare, o să-l dau mai tare, chiar dacă...
This entire time, right? The fact that there are different ways to play the Chrome Jam Junction. Usually whoever gets the high ground is the most benefit.
Ok.
Hold up. Savage stepping up to the wall. Let's see how quickly he can turn us around.
Yeah, right now it just
Mamă,
seems
ce
like the
edituri are.
aggressor is off his
Oh,
my
shit!
God. Mr. Savage just get absolutely done up by
Am murit
Baka.
din prima, bro.
That momentum from yesterday,
Ce
putting
hit
Hydra on
frumos i-a
back
dat.
foot. He's just trying to stay alive right now and
Savage e
stabilize
scos
the situation.
And if
joc.
you didn't respect NAOS before, you have to now. Onward and Baka have truly shown
În primii
how
95.
their preparation has come into play here, putting down arguably one of the stronger European duos to show up here this weekend.
Yeah, they smell the fear right now, and they're hot on the chase. This is 2 more points. This is a great start. More Storm Surge, everything for Onward and Baka to keep it going and try to get that top spot, because they know with the 2nd place finish in NA West last season, anything is possible. But Hydrop, he doesn't want to be a part of it, but they're just not wanting to let him get away.
I like that they're chasing this one down here, though. I think it's very much worth it. Get those points. Make up for the games that you were bested out on. And this time around, Baka with the display. Everyone close
My
your eyes.
fucking
We saw
God.
nothing. We move on.
Oh, but look at that in the feed, though. King gets credit for the knock on the Baka. I don't know where they're at, but you got to know, an aggressive team coming from Brazil, if they see that green light,
Deci dacă li se întâmplă la... Bă, deci dacă li se întâmplă la pro playeri să mai cadă și să moară așa, da, mie, bă, tată, mie de câte ori nu mi s-a întâmplat.
This has been a very interesting position for them to play out of, because Vico and Miranda have found so much success, and Video
Încă nu l-am văzut pe Zandi pe unde e, mi-l arată pe Smite, foarte mult.
This is what more we were looking towards seeing today. It may have started off a little slow, but Smite and Larson know how dangerous they can be, especially if they have the high ground against Muzz and Looter. But the longer this one takes, it looks like it was a little bit of a north zone. A lot of teams are going to begin to rotate in, so you know as well as I do, the longer you take, the more chance of a third party, and that's going to be Larson and Spite's job right there to try to disengage. But they don't disengage far. They just continuously hold that high ground.
Smart of them. They're showing us that they actually want to take this fight. Smite and Larson, some of the most confident players we have actually seen.
Yo, he's not backing down.
Looter's like, what's up? You guys want to do this? I play better. Box to box. Come see me.
That could have been a key. That could have been one a huge key for success for Smite and Larson, because winning those off-spawn exchanges gets you the Storm Surge. You don't have to worry about later in the game. But the duo from OCE wants to challenge the NA East. Muzz taking some layers away. Larson just trying to stagger himself. Right there, those angles are going to be so important for both of these teams.
And players know better than to go too high as well. You want to make sure you're respecting the distance, but not too much. In fact, you get chopped down, but it's a great angle here. Muzz finds a huge tag. He's going to win the exchange there, and luckily, the shots in the distance, probably from King and Ed, do not connect here.
Yeah, it's like an Eiffel Tower getting built. You even see the shots already now coming in from all different directions. Everybody wants that surge. They want to have as much flexibility through the mid-game as possible. And once again, it looks like Larson and Smite are trying to disengage. They don't want to get stuck in this mess. They felt and dealt with this lobby at the top spot, and they know that you cannot fall behind. You cannot put everything you all have in all one moment. So for them, it's about re-matting up, because you look, they barely have anything.
Well, lucky for us, things are going to simmer down, and Taco's going to give us a quick update.
Zondi.
But more importantly, it's going to be about some of these Southside teams that are, again, going to be finding themselves making a huge journey towards those North Pulling zones. Joe and Andy specifically, they're sitting right now in that fourth place position on the leaderboard. So it is absolutely crucial for these guys to gather as much materials, as much loot and resources as possible. And that's exactly what Andy and Joe are making sure to take their time to do, because they know they've got quite the journey ahead of them, and they're going to make the most of it. But let's get back to the action.
Thank you so much for that breakdown there, Taco. It really does give us the full picture about Joe and Ziandi's journey in the game here, right? They're one of the few teams, like we said, against all odds, perform very well with the zone not landing them.
Yeah, and you can kind of see a little bit of how they're getting that job done, but Smite in the feed, looking like he's already going to take down Muzz, leaving Looter in a 1v2 situation. I'm getting that feeling of deja vu from yesterday where they 1v2'd inside of the cave, but it got really, really dangerous.
It's a great aim. Off guard. He was so ready, but here comes the defensive shots from down low. He's got to be careful.
That
ball is not his, and now he has to break through the pro player, turns things around. Larson comes from behind and throws tomatoes on the body, just like that.
Ce toxic e chinezul ăsta.
Exactly how he's feeling right
What the
now,
fuck, bro, ce
there goes that
toxic
first
e
elimination.
chinezul
This
ăla.
is how Muzz went down. He's building in wood.
Bine.
The lack of resources right now. He got did up like a sit-up, sent back to the lobby. Now it's up to Pars.
Deci la dă nou pe unul, e clar
He
că
got
se
the knock on
pușeze.
Bailey. The Siphon finally going to come through, and this is a chance for him to slow it down, stabilize here for a moment while he figures out what is next.
Alex and Bailey have been contested this weekend. Pars
Alex and Bailey, auzi.
things up. Seems like they haven't caught a break just yet. But way to kick things off. Raze is down, in fact, as well.
fost bine să fiu eu. 90 de oameni în viață. 10 s-au dus. Uite-l pe Alex pe acolo, pe la Voxer, că mai trebuie să scrie și Spartanul. OG.
If they're going to go ahead, and right now Alex has the opportunity with the med miss and the flopper. They can try to get a reboot that is in Storm, but you got to do it sooner rather than later. But it doesn't look like Pars wants to let that one come easy. And you can see the zone on the left. That is going to be another northern zone. So the players that we were talking about, Janice and Vadil, Joe and Andy, and a lot of those teams that are on the southern portion of the map have to go ahead and figure out a way to go ahead and travel as fast as possible yet again.
Looks like we're picking up the trend where we left off. This is a full zone pull. But Joe and Zian have already proven to us they know how to play these.
E n-aș vrea dacă stai așa mult, că boia poate să te țină cu zona, frate.
When the zone lands on top of them, they have turned all of those games around into excellent end games.
Wow, și launch pad perfect. Andy să primul.
They don't necessarily want to take the fastest course of action to the safety. They have to go a little wide here to give themselves some room. In the distance, Cammy and Seti, so they're hot on their trails as well. And then, of course, Macwood and Kanata here to the left. That's the resistance.
Yep, you see Joe and Zandy, 5 games, 5+ eliminations on day one. Most of any duo. The consistency coming out of some of these teams is absolutely insane, but jumping on board, Queasy and Vino, our first place team. They got the zone that you talked about, and you can look how they're setting up right on top of the blimp. They're not necessarily together. That way they can continue to maximize their opportunity to get surge.
And they're so far apart. Just look at where Vino is
compared to where care a câștigat primul meci al 6-lea. Cami sau cum îl cheamă pe unul din ei.
Here's Edgy and Acorn, one of NA East's only hope inside the top 10 right now. Last game yesterday fell slightly short of their expectation, but one thing I did notice about Acorn and Edgy, they were in the player lounge late last night, bot reviewing,
Sunt foarte atent pe toate părțile să mă uit de player. Parcă zici că joc eu. Mamă, așa o să dă la frână că să bă.
Game 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
And that bot review actually
paid
off.
We've seen this rotate
from Cammy and Seti. Everybody's hitting that VOD review after day number 1. They want that free rotation, especially since they are in the storm. But I did see Booga go down. Malibuga getting a knock on to Andalex. But for this team, I love this rotate now. Cammy and Seti were in a different position yesterday. They were down on Surge, but for Trulex and Ticho, they are over 300 above. They have absolutely nothing to worry about other than finding that sweet spot in zone.
Here's Colin Scented, playing very smart, taking their time. And of course, hiding out where they can. Another team that is seemingly interested in playing as individuals here.
Mamă, frate, ce meciuri nu vine să cred.
He works on the loot. HD coming in at second place today, finding themselves 9th above the Surge. Big task in front of them, but this is perfect. Talk about a delivery. You find a player. It's Grolls, one that we know was already taken out earlier. So he's going to have a limited amount of loot to work with. Seems like Tripper takes the passive route. They find a few tags, they get away. Of a day 2 finals. Is that the pressure of being in second place coming in? Were they too early?
Nah, I feel like this is them right now, feeling that comfortability, the flexibility of being at that top spot. Because you know as well as I do, depending on
Bă, dar ăștia doi stau pe lângă unde nu sunt player deloc, frate, deci tu.
If you're at the bottom, you got to find a way to mix those eliminations up with some victory royales. But if you're at
the top,
you
de la galben, care știi cu galben și că e gelos.
Problem is going to come down to that Storm Surge, though. We'll see what they can do. Seti and Cammy find themselves very far above the Surge, but also deep inside the zone. That's something you don't see very often. That's like water and oil. They don't quite mix.
Sedzi, că nici nu știu cum îi pronunță ăștia.
Zeets and KBR, they have big EU players on site
KBR.
here. And Clown are going to get burned.
Just outside of the zone as well. KBR and Zeet, they have plenty of heals to work with. And that's exactly why they're staggering themselves so far back, 290 above for them. That's a feeling of comfortability as Storm Surge begins to activate. And this is the thing, for those players that are comfortable on Storm Surge, this is an opportunity to look around the lobby, figure out who is struggling. When that Storm Surge takes their shields down, you hear that crack, you hear that audio cue, and for some of these players, that's a green light.
Mă, mare, ăsta e bun, da.
We get to tune in. What looks like a little hold up, right? Looking at the weighing the options, nice little pickup there. But hold up, Brazil versus Middle East is going down right now. Spy is on the low ground here with focus there. It's not looking good. PHZin loses the wall. Quick take there from Spy as he defends off PHZin, but PHZin has all the pressure off his shoulders. And he catches Spy in a fly trap there with a quick finish. And I can hear the Brazilian fans on the other side cheering for PHZin and Quitos. They jump up to 4 eliminations. What a way to continue to climb their way up that top 10.
I just preface that type of situation. If you're down on Surge, you almost have to beeline it to the first team, and Cool's even going down backside of zone. Struggles for them. Looking like it's going to start early here in game number 7. Marim's going to go down to Acorn. Yumi is out. The team from NA West that took the Chapter 3 Season 3 championship is out of the lobby in the first game.
And you know, yesterday, Marim and Zagu had
Mamă,
so many
ce
people
laser
start to
ce l-am
fall in
vist
love with who
ăsta.
they are, but they are going to get taken out in this competition a little early on their first surge. Joe and Zandy also feeling the pressures of a late rotate coming out the zone. Luckily, there is, of course, the edge right in front of them, so this is going to be a slow mover. They're going to have to burn a second launch pad now, which will open up an inventory slot.
E bine cu pedul, dar nu știu de unde dropează ei.
They will have to do something big in order to bounce back. Have Colton sent it off to the side here. Great early builds there. That's the safety play.
Bine și Zandy, bine.
Not worth it.
And you can see right now, since it's pulling so far north, you see Chrome Jam Junction right there. That southern portion of the zone is going to get so stacked, and it's going to get so hard for some of these players to traverse through as Thomas HD and Tripperin still trying to hold on to as much of the high ground as possible. And you can see him peeking through, gathering all that information, and that's so important because you don't have to get ready if you stay ready.
This is my problem with them disengaging from Grolls and Rifty. Little did they know, that would have been an excellent fight for them to take. They were just coming off of a reboot pickup. And now looking back at it, they could have used that damage. This extra pressure here to perform is going to force them into either peeking, which will open up the risk, or jumping onto a player. And they're going to go for high ground here. They're going to go for position. They find a box. No one's inside of it. And a quick check just in case. Tripper and all of a sudden finds himself in a world of trouble here. Just a couple of seconds before this surge turns on.
huge right now. You see they're just trying to look everywhere, but that's the thing in these stack
Mamă, e
lobbies, when
zonă
you fall behind on Surge,
destul de grea.
it is so tough to find the shots that you need because everybody's just bogged up. Nobody wants to peek. Nobody wants to bite off more than they can chew because then that is how you go down. 329 above, Acorn by himself. He has very little to worry about in terms of Surge. For him, it's just about making it to zone game after game.
He's so lucky the zone actually pulls south. We saw what Acorn was able to do yesterday as a solo. He picked up so many points. That post-game interview was perfect. We got to hear the credit from Edgy, but Thomas HD, the Surge is active. No way they go in through the Chrome build. They are not playing around, but this is some of NA West's best box fighters on the other side of the wall. Thomas HD, Tripper have to take this battle here. They do not have time to sit around. Looking out, anything for anything. There it is. Baka opens the wall. No tag. That's a miss. That's a problem. Tripper might have found a little bit here. He's now leading. He does have the HP advantage. And he goes. The edit comes from the side. A great job. EU. One goes down. Can they turn it around? Baka needs to clutch up here. No HP. Shot from behind as well. He gets the trade. This is such a tough position.
He has to try to find a stabilize and find a moment to breathe right now because it was game 5 yesterday. He 1v2'd Mr. Savage and iDrop at the top of Chrome Jam. Now he's trying to do the same thing, but I don't know if he was able to get the opportunity to revive on one. So Baka is now by himself, but luckily for him, they did get some early eliminations. They did get some early damage, so they don't have to worry about Storm Surge. But oh my god, how are Thomas and Tripper still alive?
This is crazy. The map awareness, understanding the vault was just nearby and fighting their way towards it for the heals. It wasn't just for the battle, it was the positioning to the vault. What a big play here. It all makes sense as to why they wanted to position themselves here, but still, they will need to find tags now better than ever. They have shield bubbles as well to protect themselves for the next box fight.
Yeah, and for that can easily close the gap on a couple teams if they want to go box to box, wall to wall, and have that be their plan. You can see them breaking through the builds. They're just trying to find anybody that is nearby because they don't want to peek and accidentally get shot at by the lobby. So for them, it's about finding whoever is close, and they hear the players nearby, so they're just trying their best to figure out what they are going to do.
Just a couple tags now, but also a few seconds away from the half in, half out. The Surge will continue to wreck the lobby. It's going to become more and more difficult now as the seconds rage on. This is game 7 of the FNCS Invitational, and the action is really starting to pick up now.
Yeah, Pamstu went down early on. Fatch left by himself. A consistent duo on the day, but he is 17 below the damage threshold. Reap in his line of sight. He's trying to hunt, but somebody, that's Seti, who takes that one away. That was Fatch's best chance at Storm Surge damage.
Mamă, cum de storm ăsta, frate.
We know Edgy is a solo, now we have Thatch as a solo as well. A tough position to be in. Take a look at the points. It is looking very much like a 3-way race, continuing the trend here as EU leads the charge right now. Jumping over. Shield bubbles are down. Tripper and Thomas HD has found their next targets, and it's not an easy choice by any means. We are looking at KBR and Zeet on the other side of the wall.
And even though for Thomas and Tripper and Storm Surge is not activated right now, they knew where they last stood when it came to that damage. Exactly that. They are still below. It is still a worry for them, and they have to travel through all these players who are actually beating them to the punch. This could be dangerous, but for Janus in the deal, they have the high ground. They have that perfect opportunity if they're low on Surge to just clean up the lobby.
And we wanted to check in with Vino and Queasy. How have they managed to take this zone favor and turn
Queasy
it to
ăsta,
their
mama, are
advantage?
10 chug splash-uri, frate, 2 launch pad-uri. Arău e cam nașpa. Nu știu, mie nu-mi place bărăstul. Deci mie chiar nu-mi place bărăstul. Părerea mea, Aqua. Are de ăsta legendar, cum are și Zandi. 43.
Was it worth it? Reason has to leave him behind. He turns it around. Another team says, whoa, what are you doing? That's a solo now. And the burning of the mats here to try to survive. That's unfortunate for Aqua.
Yep. He was right there trying to chop down, and that was tantalizing him to go for that shot right then and there. He went for it. That was a huge opportunity.
Aici o să înceapă să moară multă lume.
But for Acorn and Edgy, they're making it this far, and actually seeing these guys get knocked a few times.
Mai sunt 38 în viață. Zanti e bine. Băi, bine că și-a puncte el, frate, și-a punctele pentru placement. E bine și așa oricum e locul 5, bine că nu spama pe el.
As we're seeing changes happen, Joe is still in this game as well. Take a look. Acorn
L-a mâncat pe aqua să dai hit-ul ăla.
right now making
143.
with anything right. Honestly, when we last tuned in, he barely had something, but on high ground, Queasy and Vino have now solidified themselves as the Titans up top.
Yeah, that feeling of deja vu sinks in yet again. 6-moving zone. That's the same time they took it yesterday as Thomas and Triprin. This time around, they're going to have that flexibility because they're 141 above the damage threshold this time, so they don't have to go hunting. They can stay ahead of zone, try to get themselves in a good spot.
And what a beautiful way and usage of the shield bubbles to make their rotate on the dead side while using the shield bubbles. Cammy, though, caught slipping there, and Seti is left now as a solo in this endgame to the hands of Larson. Cammy falls.
Yeah, and this endgame is just getting so rough.
Set
up and down these mountains. These players are going to have to figure out what they're going to do, especially Tripper, who is out of builds. Him and Thomas have to figure out something, but they have been through the ringer this game. If anybody deserves it, it's them.
This is crazy. Tripper and Thomas should not be alive right now, but they are staying up. Thomas,
he does it again!
True Lex with a huge refresh, and he is back in the game. It will come.
Mama, aici e bătălie maximă.
But hey, they have earned points, and now we have another top 3 player inside the game.
Bă, Zanti nu-l mai văd. Nu știu dacă l-ați văzut careva.
Looking to take a fight there, but no. They want to make this rotate. They need to get to the zone. What a great layer change here from Sentit, and it's all about smart play from him.
Yeah, he had 2 med miss floppers on the backside of zone. Thomas doing everything he can to stay alive, just like Larson here, who's by himself. 5 eliminations as a team, most of them coming off the back of Larson and that early game start. But first place, Queasy and Vino holding on high to the high ground in the sky.
And Brazil is
still alive in this game as well. So we have
EU, NA, and Brazil all in the same game. You can see the heals coming out from Pete.
Bacar a rămas, văd.
They still have so much to work
Da,
with.
Zanti
Two
e
of our
ieșit.
top 5 teams already out. So for Vino and Queasy, they are starting to take away. Tripper holding on with dear life here at 200 points, making sure the gap does not go too far. 6 elims now for a Brazilian duo.
Tundra ăla, Tundra, dacă nu-l câștiga ăla.
Only 2 builds of names, trying to play his cards carefully, but somehow Sentit, again he goes down, but it's Thomas HD with the run of a lifetime right now, going down right before our very eyes. Top 10 finish, now he's in the top 7 as well, trying to keep it going. KBR, Larson, all these solos coming around.
8 oameni, hai să vedem. Mamă! Iată 185 cu s-a întors ăla. Ce bere s-a dus. Mai ăla, Focus Vortex, cred că să zice și ăla. Vidal. Și mai e și ăsta. Mamă, mai sunt 2 teamuri. Mai e unul dintr-un team și 2 contra 2 teamuri. Și ăștia stau la... Ăia stau la jucat la play de zonă, frate, pentru că mai are Mad Mist. 2 contra 2. 2 contra 2, hai să vedem. Wave Genis cu Vidal. Vidal. Sau Queasy. Sunt materiale. În spate. Da, a avut Queasy. Cred. Ala, cred, să mă. Parcă e al doilea meci al lor, că au luat și în ăla primul, nu un meci. Sau mi se pare mie?
Because you will regret it at the end of the day.
Vino and Queasy are showing us why they are cut above the rest. They're looking good while they do it. The ability to capitalize on pulling that north zone is just making it look so easy for them. Let's get caught up here.
I'm joined now by your Game 7 winners, it's Queasy and Vino! What an incredible way. We talked about this only a short time ago about coming in at like a strong start
here. Ce are bă Quizy, e rușine frate să vorbească, ești de bun să freacă ăsta pe mâini, să uită la calculator, să ia cu mouse.
Hopefully we can still close it out. We're feeling good. Maybe we should get a bit more kill. 4-kill win, but we're feeling good.
We saw some of the teams around you managing to score a lot of points as well. Were you conscious of that going through? Were you focused simply on the task at hand, which was seeing out and getting the victory royale?
We're just focused on playing our own game and winning the game. That's it. Like brand new day, brand new everything.
Ce ai bă rușinosule?
And a great start to this competition on day number 2. Let's get back to Zeke and the desk.
O te crețu ce fericit era când a venit să ia interviu. Bravo, bravo Quizy, bravo.
Massive shout out to Quizy and Vino. We interviewed them at the end of yesterday and they said we want to take a moment, we need to go back, we need to review a couple things and come back stronger tomorrow. What a better way than just go ahead and win the game. I mean, to come out and in zone 2 be zone favored, to be sitting in zone on height. Basically max materials, basically max heals.
Acum se mai comentează. Bă, dar toți erau. Era mai avea mai multă viață. Da, bă, da, sunt. Bă, nu. Dar avea multă viață de jos.
We saw it going into the late game. I think it was Quizy almost had 12 splashes, almost max materials, and they knew exactly how to capitalize on an advantage like that, and they did it perfectly.
You know how they knew how to capitalize? Game number 5, the zone was almost in the exact same place yesterday. Today, it's in the exact same place again. It's just deja vu. It's Groundhog Day for these teams that are playing. It's the same outcome. What I noticed about them doing really, really well there was in second moving zone, they actually switched to metal. Now that's the time when most teams are going to be using.
Bă, ăia sunt ăia care au... Da, bă, toți sunt pe primul loc ăștia. Crețu și cu ăla. Quizy e pe primul loc. Așa e, mă. Uitați-l acolo, e primul. Cu ăla, cu Tundra. Cu Crețu. Bă, ăștia sunt pe primul loc. Să vezi cum pleacă rușinoșii cu banii, frate. Hai băi, Andy! Mama, Andy e pe 6, frate. Bă, dar oricum suntem mândri de el, frate. A câștigat un meci la turneu, ce mai bun. Bă, e ceva să câștige aici un meci, frate. Tu ești cei mai buni, cei mai buni. În final ați văzut că sunt 40 de oameni într-o zonă cât unghia de la degetul mic. Cutie peste cutie e acolo.
Yeah, it was absolutely valiant from Trippin there as well. If he'd have just gone down without taking out
frumos, frumos rău.
he wouldn't have been able to get res, right? That was
Mi-a plăcut și meciul ăsta.
Right there, and it allowed Thomas HD to have that
dacă mai ia Quizy și cu ăla un meci, și tot la fel și pe kill-uri așa. Eu zic că e turneul lor. Dacă mai am cu meci.
Consistency is what this duo is showing. Yesterday they got more than 20 points in every single match. Also top 15.
Ăla și-a luat și fulling când a căzut.
That's right. Well, guess what? These are just some of our insights. Vivid is actually standing by on the stage. Let's hear what he has to say.
Yes, of course. Listen, I am feeling for the players right now. We saw them hit the socials. They were complaining about all these North Zones yesterday. What are we going to start with here again today? Another Northern Zone. Now, I wanted to kind of explain why some of these pro players are having such a hard time with this. Well, first of all, it's going to be all about tilted towers and the blimp that we can find there. Look what this position is doing around it. There is not a single arrow under this blimp, and what it does is it's going to force this funnel on the right side and the left side of it. So as they're making this rotation all the way up to the northern side of this map, they're all just rotating together, right? It's looking like the Mr. Beast X Fortnite line over there for these burgers. Absolutely incredible. And then when this zone actually ends up closing in, they're all
da, ăia sunt în spate și erau cu barca.
That it makes it so hard for any of these teams to consistently handle
barca cu ăla cu shield bubble-ul.
southern side of the map. But of course, Quizy and Vino landing up there. They do take that victory out. Congratulations to them. That being said, let's kick it back over to the desk.
Thank you so much, Vivid. Fantastic breakdown there. I did want to take a moment to highlight some of the other duels we did see, kind of performing well. Zeet, KBR, they finally find themselves in that top 15 and hold and fall in 5th place. Now remember, we don't need the Victory Royale to climb the standings. We just need to be consistent.
Look, I love to see this duo performing well. The audience loves it. I hear the cheers when they're getting elim after elim, and now being bumped up to 4th place, seeing that this is the
Chinezul ăsta e toxic rău, ci că se roagă, uite. Poartă ochii, poartă curda borcan la ochi la cât de spart e. De joacă 10 ore pe zi, frate, Fortnite. Deci uitați-vă ce ochelari poartă, frate, n-ați văzut că el făcea, ce făcea? Nu floss-ul, mă. Take the sau cum naiba era, nu take the nu făcea. Ăla așa cu mâinile. Dans, auto.
That's right, another duo, PH
Gata?
Kitos also alive there in the top 15. So real Brazil,
trebuie să mai comentez ăștia.
Huge today. I feel like another duo that we
Eu zic că la și jumătate, cred că dă drumul la următorul meci, cât
kind of still under the radar. Vidil and Janice, they've been relatively quiet, but they did make top 5 in this last game. So what are we kind of hoping to see out of this duo?
Look, they adapted. I saw Janice on social media yesterday. He was like, I don't know what to do. I'm landing in an uncontested spot. The zones are pulling north. I don't have time to get enough surge. I don't have time to get enough damage. I need to change something. And clearly, Janice and Vidil changed something.
Am murit pe locul 96, cred sau 97. Am murit al treilea, cum a început meciul.
Just doing a little bit of VOD reviewing as well, and he's really making changes.
Man, a lot of these players, they know today is the day to bring it all. But as we prepare for game 8, let's go hang out with Boss and Jacob to get things started.
Eu nu l-am văzut pe Buga.
Thank you so much there, Zeke. Yeah, we really get to pick
Game
things
8
up.
acum
It's
o să
looking like
înceapă.
we're closing into a runaway train potentially.
Yeah, potentially it is so, but there's still 5 games left on the day for some of these teams. Right now, game number 8
Da, game 8. Hai că merge repede treaba. Al doilea meci pe ziua a doua. Adică al 8-lea cum ar veni dacă aduna și cu alea 6 de înainte. A fost 7 și acum 8. Ba da, și Buga, uite-l cu roșu acolo și pe al doilea rând, cum ar veni așa de sus în jos. Sunt curios acum drop-urile alea. Buga n-a mișcat nimic în meciul trecut. Nu l-a arătat deloc. O singură dată parcă. Nici Smite n-a mișcat.
And that's how they were able to get the spot they did on the leaderboard.
That's right, and also Jamper and Peterbot on that
Kami
was having a tough time.
Yeah.
Contested pretty much for very little loot, not much to work with, and that is
deci Kami și cu ălălaltul, cu echipierul lui, sunt la egalitate cu ăsta, cu Quizzy. Au câștigat ăla primul și al 5-lea, uite ăștia doi. Primul și al 6-lea meci și Crețu a câștigat ultimul și primul meci de aici. Ultimul din prima zi și primul din a doua zi. Bă, cum naiba veni sau cum naiba veni? Uite și pe Smite, iar a sărit Smite aici. Parcă aici a fost de trecută. În casă. Bă, vreau să-i dau la chinezul ăsta, frate. Eu nu sufăr pe chinezul ăla, dai cu Smite în echipă.
As now we get to look over at Chapix and Tayson. The rotate out for Aqua losing his teammate right now. Reason is down and Aqua, I can just feel the desperation.
Mama, Aqua a rămas singur, a murit cu echipierul. Mamă, cât ghinion pe Aqua, cât ghinion, brother.
See Seti and Cammy join Aqua and Nyrox as the only players with multiple VRs in an international event. That is absolutely impressive as these two teams closing the gap between each other. They want that off-spawn exchange, and for Muzz and Looter, they want revenge. They want redemption for what they've been going through the past 7 games.
That last game was a great one for Smite and Larson.
PSG.
Officially jumping their way back
PSG, grasul de la PSG. Vine, bă! Messi! Ăsta e Messi, bă! Sau Neymar, că Neymar zice că s-a îngrășat ăștia, că s-a îngrășat. Da, mă, grasul ăla e Neymar, uite-l de la PSG. Ia uite-l. Și pe Fortnite îl cheamă PSG TNA Muz. Mamă, ce din lău, iar ești tricou de la PSG, ăsta e obsedat, frate, de PSG. Mbappé direct. Uite și pe Andy. Andy tot aici e pe deșert.
Almost 20 points in all 6 games. No other team had even 10 points in every game. So you got to imagine how that really puts them on the confidence scale coming into day number 2 as Joe and Z Andy going to have a little bit of a north pool yet again. It's going to be on the eastern side this time around, so for some of these teams it's going to be a little bit of an easier game, but some of them it's going to be equally as hard as the last.
I'm happy we have to jump in with KBR here because Z is down. We saw that exchange happen. There, remember, they are not completely clear here at the Lustrous Lagoon in this general area. They do have tons of players that land in this general area. Runa and Peppo
Arăta că abia început să-l bea, că mai sunt 4 secunde, dar gen, na, tot sau o secundă. Ce glitch a avut ăsta? Trebuie Queasy.
Yep, on board. Queasy and Vino. One of two teams in this event that has 2 victory royales so far in this tournament. You've seen how they're getting the job done. Going from balloon to balloon, the high ground, getting the surge.
Destul de repede, nu e pauză de 10 minute între meciuri, să zic așa.
This is such a synergistic duo that cannot be stopped at the way they're going right now.
I don't want to call it too early, but hey, the zone is leaning north. Is it going to end somewhere up there? Yes or no?
No. I want to bet against it. I want to bet against it because some of these teams have been just going through the ringer with those north zones. I'd be okay with an eastern one, giving some of our teams on that just a little bit of a chance to kind of climb up that leaderboard. But a team that doesn't need a chance because they take it by force is Wox and Robob Kebab. They're one of my favorite teams simply because of Robob's name.
Yeah, you say it all the way through every time.
Mamă, ăsta e controller player, s-a și speriat.
Bailey and Alex in a box fight right now versus Yusri and
Cred că au zis comentatorii că s-a speriat.
Awaited fight. It's been happening all weekend long. They're one of the few teams that have been contested, but not have really turned their winning fights into anything big in the end game, right?
It's huge. Wave, Ju and Yusri not backing down here. This is a fight that I think kind of settled every single game yesterday. Or at least I'd guess so, between Alex and Bailey, Ju and Yusri. But Alex and Bailey, I was kind of talking to them.
Alex and
Anybody
Bailey
in this tournament, realistically, including them, can pop off at a moment's notice. You just have to find a way to do it while staying consistent at the same time, and they want to go ahead and get this elimination. They want to go ahead and fight this, so that way they can get the surge that they need, so they don't have to worry about it later on. Because unlike every regular FNCS of the past, our contested teams this side around are actually having very good tournaments.
I think what we're seeing right now is stage pressure kicking in. I had a lot of time to kick up, really catch up and get to know Alex and Bailey in the lead up to all of this, and what they've managed to tell me is they were winning most of their creative head-to-head. So I think when it comes down to raw skill, Alex and Bailey might have the edge over Ju and Yusri, who are newer formed duo in final style settings. That's kind of what's happening here. Let's go to catch up with Miro though. Going on with him down south.
Yeah, him and Booga, I've been wanting to see more of. This is a legacy style event for them. And already, they're switching it up as Miro finding an early elimination onto Bevies. And that was a thing for them. They had such north poles, they weren't able to get the surge, so they had to go hunting just like so many other players in the lobby. And you're not really able to control your game if you're just forced to go for surge game after game.
That's right, but luckily for him, he does find a little bit of success there. An elim is huge, especially considering he can go ahead and rotate sooner rather than later. Thomas HD, Tripper, taking their destiny into their own hands this round, really turning up the action. This is learning from your previous game. They do not want to find themselves in another storm surge position where they have to fight for surge.
You can see that Thomas having more points as a solo than any other player in EU, but to me that's not too surprising because we talk about his accolades, we talk about how legendary of a player he is. He just needs to seal that deal with an FNCS championship, and he can really cement himself as one of the best players of all time.
And you can see he also led all damage on day number 1, really earning that respect there. You didn't believe it before. Seeing him do it in person is exceptional. As Seti and Cammy, we can speak to the same accolades. What a great duo here. Just really strategizing all the way through, playing so well so far, and continuing their trend. Not so bad, right? They did enough to maintain the pace there in 3rd place.
That's where Tayson and Chapix, you can see a lot of those Cloudy Condos teams not able to get a ton of damage to put themselves up for a good mid game, but right now they already took down Macwood, looking to go back-to-back and take down Kanata as well. They are hot on the heels. They don't want to let this one escape. The damage continues. The pressure is just insurmountable right now as Kanata is just trying to survive. Luckily for him, a couple of players joining on the fun. The tags come in from a third party. That's going to allow Kanata just a few seconds to try to stabilize against this European powerhouse.
Kanata and Macwood are uncontested at their drop, so they're playing with fire right now as they pull south to the edge of the zone here to see what they can make happen. But Kanata riding his way around the builds right now. You can see Tayson now
jumping onto all the loot. Some of it was already scavenged through, so
Mamă, ce
should
hituri.
have the reboot card there.
Are 10 chug splash-uri, ești nebun.
Distance shots come in. That could be Booga
Easy.
and Hero at the hill there. As we know, this is their area. They do play those outskirts. They will not rotate early to center. It's not how they do.
Canada's just trying to stay alive right now on the edge of zone as well, so it's not even going to be a storm fight when it comes down to it. So Chapix and Taste can do exactly anything they want, and you can kind of see KBR, Zeet, 4th place. They go down in this one. That's not where you want to be, but the fight continues, and Canada is doing an absolutely fantastic job fighting back against one of the best teams in the region of EU.
Let's see it. Chapix looking for the wall here. Canada demanding respect, but gets punished first. 72 was a huge shot from Chapix there. And the edit comes through, he fights back. This is what pro players do so well. And Tayson still, against all odds, will turn that one around, but it was looking so dicey.
Yeah, unfortunately for Canada and Macwood, that's where that consistency of yesterday kind of comes to a halt, but there's still a couple more games on the day. They can climb back at any moment.
That's right. Let's get a quick update from Taco on how things are going.
Been a lot of action taking place over in the Tilted Towers area as well throughout this game, but absolutely wanted to highlight the way that Acorn and Edgy have just managed to split their teamwork responsibilities. You've got Acorn just spending all of his time securing the loot, securing resources for this duo. Meanwhile, Edgy, he's making sure to take care of their surge management the entire while. He's just posted up on high ground, looking everywhere he can for as many tags as possible so that their rotations can be as free as they need it.
And those are the strengths of Tilted Towers. Center location, it doesn't matter where the zone goes. They have a strategy that has been so solid every single time. And again, as we give you guys the updates, top 5 has changed as 4th place is now out of the competition.
Mamă, unde și de meciul ăla?
From KBR, he tries to throw down a chug splash, but unfortunately sends one into the bush. And look at that, gets eliminated there by Wax and Robob. And the reaction, that's a tough one there because again, they were doing very well.
Trebuia să-și dea chug splash.
Yeah, hopefully right now mentally, they realize that they can still do very, very well. They can still jump up a ton of placings in the next couple of games. You just have to buckle down. You can see the TSM duo far below. But now I want to go over to Larson and Smite. Is this the longest either one of these teams have not only been alive, but been in Grim Gables as well? But at the end of the day, they want to fight. And that fight they will get. And between Larson and Smite, they have a little bit of that high ground. They're only team contested in the top 5.
At this point, I don't even know if they know it's Looter and Muzz. How do they? You really... like, how do they? It's been happening for so long. Maybe they walked away and came back, said, hey, is this another duo? But no, it's just Larson. It's just Smite. It's just Muzz. It's just Looter. And now out of material, Larson trapped up. Box like a fish, almost. Smite turns it around, though. 2v1. They try to swing in, and it's not looking good. They are hurt. No HP, low material count. It's down, goes Smite. Larson sneaks out the side there. And Muzz catches the first elimination, and the siphon is enough to get some mass there.
That's huge. That's huge for them, for their comeback attempt. Get as many placements as possible, but there's a couple other teams that are stacked up here as well, and it does look like the surviving member of that duo got out alive for a moment, but he cannot go back into the storm. Otherwise, he will get eliminated by somebody else.
And Thomas HD gets those 2 points.
That
can be a difference maker. 3 points for Thomas HD and Trippin, who are on the heels of Vino and Queasy, but now 4th place is down. 5th place is down. The top 3 have more of a runway to start ramping up here. King and Ed, though, under shots here. They are making the rotate. It's Avery and Commandment who's up above. Low on material count as well. King has to box up.
Yep, another team towards the north side of the map, on the western side as well, that has a little bit of a pool to go. I don't want to say I called it, but I wanted that little bit of an eastern side. We don't want to go all the way north anymore. We want to give a huge fighting chance as Sentin and Cold. They're just a below surge, but barely below as they're continuing to find the tags, trying to get themselves above. Just like that, it appears. They did just enough damage, but for them, that's not a feeling of comfortability at all. They know their job is not done just yet, and that's why they keep surveying the field.
That is right. Great tags here. Center is going to find down low. This is where you need to really hit your shots. When your team is just on that line of danger, when the storm surge is moving, when the pressure is on, who can go ahead and put up the numbers that matter most? Noah Riley, bad sniper, very low on HP, not even
pausing to go ahead and heal one another instead. Pushing on in. That's the Japanese duo right there. Zagu and Marim, they are champions of Asia, the most recent FNCS champions of their region. You have to put respect on their name. And these EU boys are learning very quickly as to why you don't walk up to that wall.
Yeah, and they're actually one of the teams that have some of the best performances when rebooting a player. They got a 25th place finish. They got a second, but Noah Riley doesn't care. He gets tagged up. Zagu gets dropped as well. Both these players living on a prayer, but the Asian powerhouse team do it again. Let's get loud for Japan.
Representing for Japan, we love to see it. It's a jammed house here in North Carolina. We love to see these teams stepping up under the lights, under the action. Thomas HD Tripper doing that as well. Look at how they adjusted from game 1 on this day, from game 7 to game 8 now, right? All of a sudden now, they are so far above with the damage.
But historically, when it comes to Thomas HD and Triprin, I will say their second half team, their second day team, historically they just perform better when their back is up against the wall. And hopefully for NAEs, hopefully for North America altogether, Acorn and Edgy can have that same fire. You talk about them being in 4th place on the day. It was only because they had a bad game 2. They had a 0-point game 2 yesterday.
Urmăriți voi în
Other than
continuare
that,
dacă
they were
vreți.
among the top 3 in performances at the second half
Dacă
of
nu
the
știți
day.
unde
If
e
they can
fix pe
continue
asta,
that here early,
fix
they
pe
will
canalul
be
de YouTube
on
de
the
Fortnite.
run to
Fortnite-ul
the race.
normal,
He knows
original.
gonna find Hellfire in the feed there. That's
Oficial.
gonna be a huge refresh
Cum
for
vreți
him,
voi
but
să-i zic.
Kitos and PH in holding on to dear life right now. Just
La fel, cei care mai puteți să stați ca mine, îl vedeți și mâine reluare. Nu există problemă.
Fourth, they slip way on down, and this time it seems like the Storm Surge has ran a number on them. Now let's take a look at their current game leaders. Rotates there. Cammy and Seti being a few of the bulk.
Fiți atenți, dacă câștigă Zanti pe ăsta, dacă mai e în viață, nu l-am mai văzut, mai stăm la 1. Ăsta e... Ăsta e standardul. Deci dacă câștigă Zanti meciul, cu victorie real, mai stăm la 1. Așa mor de somn cum sunt.
We've talked about it in the desk to kind of start the day yesterday. They're not an aggressive team. Even though they're in a top placing team, they're usually on the low, but right now another top placing team on the leaderboard. Joe and Z Andy trying to get busy. Malibuga goes down. Merstash is by himself, trying to live with just a sliver of HP as Joe wastes no time trying to get to the box, but Z Andy goes down to the storm. 1v1 situation. Peace Control goes right back over to Merstash. He peeks through at the wrong time. Huge tag, back to back by Joe to get the double elimination.
And we love to see it. It's usually your friends that turn on you.
Alu Zandi era, bă, da, bă. Alu Zandi, ăștia sunt în viață, bă.
The EU team on top in that engagement.
Queasy and Vino team
Dar sunt în zona aia.
comfortably in first place as Booga taking down clicks in the feed. And that's what we want to see. We saw Miro getting a little bit busy earlier. Now we're seeing Booga start to get active. This team is beginning to come online. And for a team as dangerous as they are, they have never placed out of the top 3 monster. And they want to keep that accolade intact.
It's going to be a tough one, though. They will have to continue to turn up. But Vico is in a fight up against Zagu and Marim, and he will turn things around. Vico had the biggest game closer yesterday of any other player on the day. This man is an animal.
Dangerous as can be, and you can see Pink and Anas. Very, very similar situation. Top of the mountain, they got some traveling to do. A few teams around them as well, but they're just trying to figure out where the rest of the teams actually went. So right now, they're trying to figure out what that slow side is.
Let's see it. Joe by himself. Z Andy picked apart on the rotate. No heals for Joe. What a tough spot to be in, but hey, at least he has Chrome Splashes for the rotate.
A murit, bă, Zandi.
It's gonna be tough. We're holding our breaths. I'm sure he is as well. You can see he's just biting his lip, looking around like, oh man, I gotta
Bine,
time
și cu
this
echipierul, dacă
When
se
do I
câștigă,
move? When
tot
do I go?
se
That's the
pune ca și
question
cum
he's
că au
asking
câștigat,
himself
pentru că
second
nu asta
after
echipa.
second. As Thomas and
Deci dacă câștigă
271
ăla,
above
toți
the
stăm.
damage threshold. Not much to go, but they want to get there as fast as possible. In a zone like this, you want to get yourself that sweet spot, and it looks like they're going straight for the high ground.
Don't overcommit here. Shield Bubble comes down to protect themselves. This will allow the builds to get to max HP, and now they can start to read the room. It's Epic Whale. That's not an easy duo by any means, but no, high ground cannot be claimed. There's still some natural terrain off to the side there. They have to weigh their decisions. Thomas HD, so much better in this game here, looking so much better. Tripper as well.
I like this view of the lobby right now because it really shows us how stacked that right side actually is. We're gonna probably see some teams launchpad early if they do not get the zone.
Acum începe nebunia pentru că se strânge zona.
Brazilian duo of King and Ed. You see Epic Will, a player that usually is lighting up the leaderboard, having a couple struggles, but he is too a second half team. A lot of these teams are known with their backs up against the wall to come up big.
Might have found some points there. That is huge, but no, it's just going to be taxed. Oh, actually, yes. Yep. Edgy will get the Elim credit there. That's going to effectively push them over. Cold and Sensitive, they have done enough to go ahead and continue to trade that 7th and 8th place position. The top 10 is extremely competitive here. Bugha, Miro, 4 eliminations. What a massive swing of points here.
And they're just continuously looking for the shots all around. Finally finding that comfortability here. Finally finding some sort of stride to work with. And you can see the Chili Chug splashes coming out. And that's how they're going to try to rotate across while all the other teams are stuck in that mess on the side. They did just enough damage to weaken one team to try to put them the focus of that lobby.
Queasy cu Crețu sunt încă în viață, mamă, 235 de puncte, dar îi prind aia. Tripod.
They will have to fight for a refresher. Vino is going to get tagged by Refsgaard there, and he loses his shield as well. And now split from Queasy. Queasy bases out wide here to put up a front on high ground. It's Scram and Chimp who land outside of the Lustrous Lagoon, all of a sudden trying to turn us around. Edgy is down. Acorn by himself. World of trouble, and he goes down to Avery from the side there.
That is huge because they're having a pop-off game right now. Seeing Commandment getting a few eliminations already. Chimp and Scram finding success here on the day. They had a top finish yesterday. They're looking to replicate that some way, shape, or form. But Vino, Queasy, you know what time it is. 5th into 6th moving zone. This is where they typically try to go for that high ground and hold on to it for the rest of the game.
Most of top 10 that we started this lobby with is now down and out, but you know who is consistent is our remaining first 3. Vino, Queasy, Thomas HD, Tripper, Seti, and Camis are still in this game, and somewhere amongst all that, you have the solo Joe, who was just picked up, and now Vico, one of the only few who can actually jump back into this.
Și unii fac cât încât un meci, 34, 35 de puncte. Și au 54 în 9 meciuri, bro. Holy shit, am prea slăbuț. Uite, știu, Queasy are 14 puncte numai acum. Dar nu se bagă pe bătaie.
Where to go is Tripper and Thomas, 33 below the damage threshold. They're going to launch pad, get ahead of zone, and as soon as they do, even though they're not in zone, they're going to be looking all around them to try to find the tags that they need.
The best part of what we're watching right now is the preparation, the hard work, and all of that coming together here for the EU trios or duos at the top right now. Because at the end of the day, we know they put in all the work. Vino is going to find Reet and then crank his way up to high ground. And all of a sudden, he is trying to go for a back-to-back. They might just be the most winningest team of the FNCS Invitational at this rate.
Back-to-back game, 6 moving zone. They take the high ground with a well-paced launch pad, but Scented and Cold, they find 2 eliminations on their way to the end game. And if they could just make it that far, they're trying to stay ahead of zone, trying to find some elevation to work with.
High ground aici au să fie.
And Vino right now doing a great job building high enough to shut down that opportunity.
Queasy's going to meet him there as well. Look at this, it's going to cost him a ton of material. So it's not over yet. Launchpad comes in, and there it is. He almost gets boxed out. And Queasy and Vino have to give up the high ground. Vino drops down, takes some fall damage here. And the defense, it's Chapix, it's Tayson on height, out of nowhere.
And while all this action's going down in the mud toward below ground, Bugha and Miro found 2 more eliminations. They're continuing to light things up as Andalix finding one. Vino finds another on Robot Kebab before going down. Queasy left by himself, no build, just a few bandages. This man is trying to make miracles happen. Looking towards the backside of zone, he gets shut down by Pablo.
And it's actually a time for Thomas and Tripper to catch up. Finally, this powerhouse duo is out of the lobby, but will they step up? Can they make do and take advantage of the fact that they cannot earn any points? Tripper is still alive right now. No team's getting taken out, but no, he's hurt. And he goes down. He does not manage to find anything. What's left is Seti and Kama. What's left is Buga and Miro here, but Miro's down
32 de
for
puncte Buga meciul ăsta,
This is
mamă.
where he needs to perform best. Into the hands of Seti. Miro has fallen.
And right now, this is just an unorthodox way to take that top spot for Cammy and Seti to where they weren't as aggressive coming into this event. This is the most aggressive we have ever seen a team like them, and it is paying off tenfold as the high ground switches on over. But the World Cup champion, the solo World Cup champion is stuck at just that, a solo, trying to stay alive, figure out what the plan is going to be, moving around the left side of zone to where not too many players are at, and the smart usage of the Chrome Splashes as well, denying the opportunity to edit through, but he finds the shots on the scram, but he gets shot back by Chip. This is going to come down to that. Chip takes down Buga. Into the top 10 he goes, though.
And look at Chip go. Look at the quick edits there as he manages to turn around. Now out of material. It's all or nothing. A quick edit down low as well to keep him in the game here. But the low ground, there's two, and it's a dangerous two. It's scented. It's cold. They're waiting here as the loot rains down the river. Unfortunately, slips away from them. Seti still alive here, trying to squeeze out as many points as possible, and he works his way on up to the top. Meanwhile, Clown playing upset in Tropics and tasting her down. Wox and Robab managed to find 8 eliminations, and it's just Wox on height.
This is going to be a big opportunity for Wox to try to pick up as many placement points as he can as a solo. Same could be said with Seti. Chrome Splash, bobbifying himself, dashing, trying to take the high ground, but a misstep by Golden Scented as well. They both go down to hand. He is putting on a show to bring them to the top of the leaderboard.
It only takes one game to jump back into this top 10 here, and you're watching players fighting for it, putting it all on the line. 9 elims for Wox and Robab, 3 for Clown, who has a little high ground position here. Over the line, but there's still a duo in this game. It's Hen, it's Vortex. They're the only duo alive standing right now. 1v1v2, Clown versus Wox here. Wox is looking up and high, a great jump shot there, and he is down. And now Clown has to take on 2 of the best here on EU. Guild Hen, Focus Vortex. It's not looking good, but it's looking great for Vortex and Hen, and they close out.
They had complete control of that game. From 8 moving zone and all, the last duo
Chinezul ăsta nebun, a câștigat chinezul ăsta nebun.
And off the back end, that 2 eliminations at the end to get the siphon, that was the recipe for their success.
And they were just so close to pushing double digits there. A low ground win is not something we've seen, but let's get caught up in a little insight from the pros.
Hello, hello. I'm joined here by Vortex and Hen after that incredible game. How you feeling, man?
Pretty pumped. Just gotta keep it up.
I mean, obviously grabbing, what, 8, 9 eliminations in that game. What's the next step for the next game?
Win next game again.
Okay, 2 VRs back-to-back. I love it so much. And obviously, what was the recipe for success there? There was a lot going on all around you guys.
We made lots of mistakes yesterday, and we're trying to come back stronger. So we're trying to fix all the mistakes made yesterday and, win today.
So what were some of the mistakes that you fixed in this day?
Search and rotation.
I love it. I mean, thank you guys so much for joining me here. Congratulations on your win. Can't wait to see what you guys do next game. Let's head on back to the desk.
Thank you guys so much. Hen and Vortex picking up game number 8. And all with 9 eliminations. This is kind of what we talked about yesterday at the end of the day, right? Yesterday was kind of like an initial setup. Let's go ahead and let's fight a few times. Let's play a few games. But today, we really want to bring it. For them to come out in game number 8, basically the second one of the day, this is a really good jump start.
This is where they have to shine, right, Zeke? And they did exactly that in this match. I mean, one of the few victory royales that actually come from down in the dirt, from below, and they made it happen.
Yeah, they really did. And what you noticed from that interview right there, they were saying, of course, they had surge issues yesterday. They had some positional, rotational issues. And this is something that I thought might happen with this duo. They're 2 fraggers ready. They don't really have that lead. They don't have that IGL. I think Hen is trying to take on the role at the moment, but they're 2 fraggers by heart. And I think that overnight sort of VOD viewing session that they must have done has really helped them fix those issues. Because although they may not have that dominant leader in the game, they've been able to look back at their games and think, okay, we're fixing this, we're fixing that, and clearly it's working out.
And just kind of like the holding, right, and reserves there, being almost a game entirely of solos. except this duo. They just kind of held out, right? They're saying, we don't know why, but everyone's fighting all the way around us. Let's just wait it out. Top 3 here are, it's a 2v1. Yeah, let's close it out. 9 eliminations, no big deal.
Look, Queasy and Vino were looking for high ground. Tayson and Shapix were looking for high ground. The battle up above was dangerous, and it was actually too dangerous because the duos kept getting eliminated, losing a teammate, ended up with too many solos, where in the end, Hen and Vertexer just made it
Tot
happen.
Queasy e pe primul loc cu 247. Bă, ăștia se mențin că fac kill-uri și placement, bro. Da, mă, vreau să că am stat și live-ul, sper că m-a plăcut. Dacă v-a plăcut, uitați butonul ăla de like, am mai făcut pe lângă live-ul ăla nostru, am mai făcut încă o oră și 14 minute, nu mai pot să mai stau, mi-e somnă de tot. Și voi o să urmăresc și eu mâine, când mă trezesc sau, na, depinde.